Hey y'all, I'm back with another video. I was supposed to do my little intro, but this was just a random cooking video I wanted to do, and I have specific outlines for how I want to do my intro for the idea I have. So yeah, but that's another story. But let's get into it. I'm just showing y'all the seasonings that I'm using to season up my chicken for my jerk chicken. I'm gonna be using some kosher salt, some onion powder, some garlic powder, some Dano's, cause come on now, let's be fucking real. Dano's is good as fuck. Some crushed red peppers, some jerk seasoning, the spicy flavor, cause duh. And some Caribbean jerk marinade. I was debating if I wanted to use the sofrito to season with the chicken, but I didn't want that Spanish undertone, so I didn't even end up using it. Another thing, I didn't realize I didn't press record when I was seasoning the chicken, and I was really mad because I was hitting that hoe. It looked so clean and neat the way I was seasoning it for the camera, but you know what, whatever. As long as it's seasoned good, that's all that matters. I'm about to go in and use the jerk seasoning and the Caribbean jerk marinade. So, I usually like to do 3 teaspoons of the jerk seasoning with an actual teaspoon, like not the measured one, because what the fuck, who cares? Spicy is spicy. But I usually do 3 because I like spicy food, and jerk chicken wings are spicy, so I do 3 of that. And then once I've done all that little banging against the bullshit, I then top it off with the Caribbean jerk marinade, which I fucking tussled with to get it open, by the way, which is extremely annoying. Before you comment how much did you put, I just did what my black senses told me to and told myself when to stop when I thought I should stop. I then gave it a good old-fashioned toss, and I put it in the fridge for 30 minutes to an hour wrapped up in some aluminum foil. I then got to work on my Arroz Gandules. I put a tablespoon of olive oil in my Dutch oven pot. I usually like to make rice, period, in my Dutch oven pot. I don't use anything else, like, whatsoever. I then turn my heat to, like, 4 or 5. Here you see me evenly distributing the olive oil throughout the pan so it's not just in one place like a dummy. I then pull out some sofrito. It's the frozen kind, and I did 1/3 cup of it. And I don't know why the fuck I was banging it that fucking much on that pot like that. Like, baby, it is gone. Let it go. And yes, you will see me playing around with the angles. I was trying to see what angle is best with the lighting because I just have a thing where I need people to see what I'm interested to see, so there's no fucking confusion. But here I'm just stirring it while it simmers a little bit just so it can brown. Do not burn it. It just needs to simmer just a little and brown just a little, but do not burn it. I then put 1.5 teaspoons of sofrito in the pot with it. Here you see that it's starting to get a little bubbly and stuff. It's doing exactly what it needs to. I also add a chicken bouillon cube for flavor, and I'm gonna say cube, I don't know what the fuck I said. And then I did 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. You can also do tomato sauce, but I don't know. I feel like tomato paste is needed when you need tomato paste, and not the other one. I then drain and rinse my pigeon peas, and I throw that into the pot with it. Also keep in mind to occasionally stir because you don't want anything to burn because remember your heat is high. And then I put a teaspoon of dried oregano. I did about like 3 bay leaves because why not? The fuck? Why stop at 2? I did 3 cups of low sodium chicken broth. You can also do water if you don't have chicken broth. So here you see me just stirring everything together, just making sure I'm picking up every seasoning, every tomato paste, sauce, making sure I'm just spreading that little flavor around the whole pan because baby, I need it to taste good, okay? So I do the 3 cups of chicken broth. And I had to go a little slow because that shit was splashing all over my ass and all over the stove. And my stove already looked crazy, and I ain't want to add to it because then that would have just pissed me off. So, yeah. Sorry. Here you see me cutting up some cilantro to throw into the pot once I've added my chicken broth. And once again, I did not measure. I just listened to my black senses and kept chopping until I felt like this is enough. And you even see me pulling some to the side like this might be a little too much. Look at me just chopping that hoe up, bitch. Like, I'm getting the chopping on these hoes. I'm about to fuck this hoe up. Watch. Me. I must have thought I was Gordon Ramsay in this hoe for a second. Like, ooh, bitch, do it for the camera. Oh, looking ass. So I throw the cilantro in there and I give it a really good stir to just mix everything together. Make sure everything is mixing together as it should be. I then go ahead and wait for it to come to a boil because, of course, we still have to throw the rice in there. But also, too, you want to go ahead and see how it tastes because this is the final touching for your rice. Like, this is what flavors your rice. This is what cooks your rice. So here you see me like picking up the spoon, tasting it, seeing what I gotta do. I go ahead and throw in another chicken bouillon, and I was out of this salt, but I was trying to get whatever else I could get out of it. So please don't judge me, and I won't judge you. But I go ahead and stir that all together, and I keep tasting it to see how it tastes. And baby, when I say this was amazing, I'm gonna make it like this forever. I go ahead and do 2 cups of parboiled rice. The rice has to be parboiled, not any other kind of rice, just parboiled rice. And you go ahead and stir it in there, and please use a fork. You want to use a fork to always fluff out rice. I just used the spoon to just mix it in there, but best believe, once that rice was cooking throughout, I was using a fork. I swear I'll be saying that my life fucking depending on it, but I'm gonna go ahead and cover the pot with the lid and let it cook for 20 minutes. Knock, knock, who's there? Chicken wingettes. Chicken wingettes, who? No, I'm just playing, y'all. So go ahead and pull out that bowl of chicken wings from the fridge. You're gonna get a deep dish pan, glass pan, obviously. And you're gonna go ahead and pour your chicken wings in there. Look at that. Aye. And best believe that shit smell good as fuck. And you see me scraping up all that juice because hashtag need that. The fuck? No man left behind. Y'all, you would have thought somebody had a gun to my head the way I was scooping out this motherfucking seasoning from the bowl, bitch. I need every last crevice because this shit is finna be juicy as fuck. It's finna be wet as fuck. And I'm finna grub. I go ahead and add some Irish butter. I put about 4 tablespoons. I know that's a lot of butter. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you. Okay, you definitely don't have to put that much. You could probably stick to like 2 or 3. I just threw a 4th one in there for some razzle dazzle. And matter of fact, I really think I OD'd it because I want to say I broke these pieces down into like smaller chunks. So I'm just like, I don't even know why the fuck I ain't got that much butter in there, y'all. Like, please do not fucking judge me. So you're gonna go ahead and wrap that up in some aluminum foil. I had preheat my oven to 400 degrees. I want to say if you don't want it that high, you can definitely have it at like 380. But I usually do 400 degrees when I make these, and they come out falling off the bone every fucking time, okay? I go back and check on my rice. I give it a good stir and look at me using a fork. The fuck? Like I knew I would because I'm a smart bitch. Don't use a spoon. Don't. I go back and check on it again, This time was the mittens, because, bitch, that shit burned the fuck out of me last time, y'all. I just ain't put that shit on camera, because y'all don't need to see my face. Y'all don't need to see that. But I had put the lid back on it and proceeded to get with my cabbage, because now it's your turn, sis. I'm peeling off the first layers because they usually be the fucking dirtiest and the flimsiest, and I fucking hate how it feels. By the way, if you ever run out of weed, I know, random fact, but if you ever run out of weed, use those first layers to roll up yourself a wood. Don't say I never gave you nothing. I go ahead and slice my cabbage into this form specifically. I like when my cabbage looks like shreds instead of like big fucking leaves that I gotta sit there and fork and fit into my mouth. I feel like this style is very nice. It comes out very nice, and it just tastes overall good because the seasoning reaches everything. I'll go ahead and get a bowl and put some cold water and some salt together, and I mix it with my hand. And yes, my hand is clean before y'all start asking me stupid ass shit. I'm gonna be using this water to put my cabbage in and let it sit and just let all that dirt rub off and let that salt penetrate the cabbage, so I don't really have to use much throughout the seasoning process. And you see me just giving a good stir. And I was like, you know what? My black senses is telling me, yeah, go back in there, add you a little bit more, pimp. So I go back in there, add me a little bit more, stir it with my hands, get really in there, because I want it to perfectly dissolve whenever I start putting the ice in here. So there's nothing floating and everything just mixed together. I throw in a few ice cubes, I'm not gonna lie. These shits were cold as fuck, and the last batch definitely stuck to my fucking skin, so that was not fun. I go ahead and start putting my cabbage into the freezing ice cold fucking water because I was cold as shit when I had to do this. I'm putting them in as is so they can soak just like that and get all that dirt off of them. I put all of them in there. I go ahead and start just washing them around, wishing them around, I guess you should say, and making sure the water hits all of them and they're just really in there soaking. I then drain the water from the bowl. I let them sit there for about like 20 minutes to 25 minutes. But once I drain the water from the bowl, I go ahead and start breaking them apart and getting that little stem part out of there, so that way I'm not biting into that, obviously, once I'm eating, because if you know, you fucking know that shit tastes disgusting and tastes like shit. A lot of it had already broken down in the bowl once I was like swishing it around, so you know, that was awesome because less work I gotta fucking do, bitch. But yeah, I just sit here and go through them and separate them so I can start seasoning them. And yeah, I go in and start seasoning my cabbage with some powdered chicken bouillon. I love this shit so much, especially on my cabbage. It gives it so much flavor, and it's just, oh. I then add some onion powder. I damn near dipped the whole bottle in the motherfucking cabbage too. God damn. But I just use my black senses, y'all. I just stop whenever I feel like I should stop. I added some garlic powder, and let me tell you, that garlic powder was coming out of that baby. It said, release me from the shackles of the pantry, please. I added some crushed red pepper. Can't forget my girl. She be adding the spices and the nights and the kicks and the dips and but yeah, I was definitely in there shaking that shit for real. I added some black pepper. Almost forgot about my girl, I'm not gonna lie. Cannot forget about my girl. A little razzle, a little dazzle. I definitely added a little bit of kosher salt, just a little bit, not a lot, because remember, we soaked the cabbage already in there. But I forgot to get on camera, so that's what I'm telling you now. I then mix the ingredients all together in the big bowl because believe me when I say trying to mix this amount of cabbage that's uncooked and shredded in an oven-sized pan is fucking hard. And shit be falling everywhere. Hell, cabbage still be falling out from the bowl, shit. And it made me mad because I had just cleaned my fucking counters and just to dirty them again. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I sat there for a minute mixing it all together just so that it could be thoroughly seasoned, because you want the seasoning to blend well throughout the cabbage. You don't want parts of your cabbage to taste like it got some season to it and then the other part is bland in a bitch. That's not fun. Once I get done mixing all the cabbage together, I then get another oven glass dish and I throw all my cabbage into the little pan, and you see the little bit of leftover water from when we soaked it. That comes out with the seasonings, which is so perfect because that's what is going to help steam your cabbage in the oven once we wrap it with aluminum foil. You don't need to put a little bit of water. You don't need to put a little bit of none. I didn't use olive oil on my cabbage this time, which I usually do, but I wanted to see how it would taste. And, well, y'all are going to find out. So, one thing about me, baby, I'm going to mix or stir some shit up, okay? I then get a fork to just make sure my cabbage is just not balled up into the pan, kind of separating it a little bit. And this is when I was telling you, I was adding a little bit of salt on top. And the salt is gone, so don't think all of that salt is still coming out there. That salt is gone, okay? Please don't put that much salt. That shit's gonna be nasty. I wrap it up in some aluminum foil, and I kept my degree heat the same from when I put my wings in there because I'm putting my cabbage in there at the same time. Well, I wouldn't say at the same time. At this point, I want to say my wings were like 45 minutes done. I had kept them in the oven for, in total, an hour and a half, but at the hour mark, I went in and took the wings out and took the aluminum foil off of them. Whew, last but not least, y'all, god damn, I gotta get used to making these folk. But I grabbed my plantain and I start slicing it throughout on the skin so it would be easy for me to peel. And let me just say, I still fucking struggled. That shit was annoying as fuck. It was not coming off. And if you know anything about plantains, you know they're really hard to peel whenever they're in the raw state. I've never peeled a plantain cooked. Now that I think about it, I would kind of want to see what that looks like. But I just go in with the knife and I start taking off the outside by force because, baby, at this point, it's midnight. I want to eat. I'm fucking tired. And I still have to work. Too much. So, obviously, I'm done cutting off the outer side of the plantain. Now I'm about to cut it in half and cut each half into fours. And I don't know if these plantains weren't like sweet enough yet or what, but they were so dry and I did not like that. And my job is to be real with y'all and I don't want to lie, but I did not like how they came out. These were very dry. So maybe if y'all could leave some tips on how I can get some better tasting ones that are like moist and crispy and good, that would be great. I did not cook these on camera because I don't got time to be dealing with oil and shit is popping on me and I'm trying to make sure y'all can see it, and it's not rocket science on how to fry plantains. Alright, y'all, this here is the final look. I would get this meal an overall 7.9. I didn't like the plantains and I felt like the cabbage was a little too salty, but the rice was perfect and the chicken was amazing.